Oregon State won the toss. They want the football. So Bob Beard will kick it away. Jordan Poyer and Rashawn Reynolds wait on the other end. And so does Jaquiz Rogers wait to get in the Beaver backfield. Civil War underway. 2 yards deep is Poyer. He's number 2 in the conference in kickoff returns. Had a little alley, but it closed on him in a hurry as he got out to about the 23-yard line. Ryan Katz, he's had his up moments. He's had his down moments. Down was last week. They're hoping he rebounds and has a good game today.
Well, he's a very talented guy. I mean, he has a great arm, an NFL caliber arm, but he's a first-year starting quarterback in the Pac-10, and that's why he's been inconsistent. And the best thing that can happen for Ryan Katz today is for Jaquiz Rogers to get off to a great start. That will take pressure off of the quarterback.
First down for the Beavers from their own 24-yard line. Jaquiz, the single setback. They play fake it to him. Katz got hammered. The ball is up in the air, and luckily not intercepted. And he is down and maybe out. Got leveled by Casey Matthews on the first play of the game. Well, how huge a first play have you ever seen in this rivalry before?
Well, I think Jaquiz Rogers missed the block. He didn't see it coming soon enough, and he's normally a very good blocker and pass protector, and the linebacker Matthews got right into the chest of Ryan Katz.
And Cody Bass, who's thrown all of 15 passes on the season, is warming up on the sideline. Wow, you can hear a pin drop in here right now for the folks that are dressed in orange and black.
It was a play-action pass, so the first responsibility for Jaquiz Rogers was to carry out the run fake, but then he did not get back inside fast enough to pick up the blitzing Matthews, and or not the way Mike Riley or this Oregon State offense wanted to start the football game.
And they got him in an upright position so far. They're rearranging his shoulder pad and his jersey on his throwing arm. And even if he's okay, he's going to leave for a play here.
Well, that's a good thing, seeing him walk off and they're not holding either one of his arms to suggest a shoulder problem. So that's a good thing.
He's a tough kid. In fact, got a personal foul penalty in their loss last week to Stanford, trying to stick up for his teammates who he thought were getting roughed up. Well, he got roughed up on the first play courtesy of number 55.
Yeah, watch Jaquiz Rogers now. Right as he carries out the fake, he's going to get a little bit too far outside, and he doesn't have the ability to slip back in quick enough to pick up Matthews, and therefore the big hit on the quarterback.
In comes a redshirt freshman who probably was not expecting to see action, especially not on the second play of the ball game.
Well, the very first thing he has to do is get the snap. He's got to make sure he secures the snap first and foremost. He did take a couple practice snaps on the sidelines, which was smart.
Meanwhile, after all of that, it's second down and 10. And he's going to throw and completes it. Out to Brady Camp, and Camp run out of bounds. That's a good way to start things off. Get a little bit of confidence for Baz.
Well, you know, Brett Favre used to say that that first hit kind of woke him up, you know, and got him fired up to play. I'm not sure you want to hit like that on the first play of the game, but Ryan Katz trying to get his wits back about him on the sideline right now.
We're going to see Baz in the shotgun on third down and 5. Opening series, if you just joined us, Ryan Katz taken out on a big hit by Casey Matthews on the first play of the ball game, and a timeout taken.
Timeout, Oregon State, number 1.
Let's check in. Meanwhile, third member of our team today, Aaron Andrews.
Hey, Brad, I'm actually just standing by Ryan Katz right now, who came over to the sidelines, and nobody's talking to him. He isn't even, you know, being spoken to by any trainers. He's just standing there, smelled some smelling salts for a bit, took a sip of water. Just looks like he's trying to collect himself, maybe catch his breath a little bit.
All right, EA, thanks. We'll take a look at our rivalry recap graphic brought to you by Dr. Pepper. I mentioned 114th meeting back to 1894. Oregon's got a 2-game winning streak, and they have the edge. 57-46 have been 10 ties, and they actually play better in Corvallis than they do at home. I mentioned the 83 game. There was all kinds of fumbles, interceptions, block kicks, terrible weather, and it ended up 0-0. Cats now warming up on the sideline. 3rd down, 5 for his teammates on the field. Baz fires high, almost intercepted by Eddie Pleasants.
And he had his man. He had Jordan Bishop open in what would have been a 1st down, but he threw it high and behind his intended receiver, and very fortunate that one didn't go the other way. Watch Bishop. He's going to be open as he wheels back inside, and the ball is thrown outside. And that would have been a pick 6 had he been able to hold on to the football.
You know, they survived that series, and if Cats can get his wits about him and they get a nice punt here, it won't maybe do them any harm. But this guy on the other end's got 4 touchdown returns on punts this year, Cliff Harris. And Harris will take it at the 29. First man missed, second one won't. And the ball is out. And did Oregon State get to it? They say they did. They did. Jordan Poyer's got it.
Brandon Harden, that was an intentional play on his part to rip the ball out from behind. As Harris goes to run away, he doesn't feel Harden, and Harden comes in and intentionally rips that ball out. And recovered by Poyer near the sideline.
And he's got control of it as he rolls his back out of bounds at the 28-yard line.
The question is, was Harris's knee down before the ball came out? It was ruled a fumble on the field. I thought they were in trouble because it was such a low kick. It was going to give Harris a good chance to return.
Katz is in at quarterback. And now it's Chris Rogers down to the 25. Maybe to the 24.
And they got a quick snap there. You know, they came in to run that play before they could take a look at that to see if the knee was down before the strip. It was a tremendous play on the part of Harden.
Boy, that was so close. We'll never know because Oregon State's got the ball inside the 25 of Oregon. Not only did they survive their quarterback right there, Ryan Katz being shaken up on the first play, but their special teams makes a huge play. 2nd down and a long 6. Katz blitz coming again. This time the ball's in the air again, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Terrell Turner. So the Ducks get it right back. I think Brandon Baer's the guy that got a hand on it.
Yeah, 2 times Katz has tried to throw the football, and the ball has taken a similar trajectory. Gets tipped by Baer, goes straight up in the air, and Terrell Turner there for the interception.
Well, have we had enough wackiness in the first minute or so? 13:23 to go first quarter. A lot of fireworks. He's going to come up throwing. Fires sideline and high, incomplete. Jeff Mayle was the closest. Aaron Thomas has had a sensational year so far. 26 touchdown passes, 5 rushing scores.
I think the decision-making for a first-year starting quarterback has been marvelous for him. You mentioned the 26 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. That's a great job of making decisions with the ball in your hand.
Now LaMichael James trying to take it wide for his first carry, and he's got 5 before he's hit by Lance Mitchell. LaMichael James, the leading rusher in the country. 19 scores, leads the nation in scoring as well.
He sets the tone for this offense. A very tough, hard-nosed guy. He actually got knocked around in both of their last 2 games against Cal and Arizona. Kept fighting through it.
Empty backfield on 3rd and 4 for Darren Thomas. Looks to the left, comes back to the middle, and he's got it complete for a first down. Out to the 43-yard line. Josh Huff, who we saw go 85 yards for a touchdown on a run last week.
Good patience by Thomas. He looked left first, didn't like what he saw on that side of the route, and was able to come back to a secondary receiver, Huff, for the first down.
So the Ducks at the 45 with their initial first down of the ball game. Thomas fires high, and it's incomplete. Josh Huff, the intended receiver on that one as well. And a penalty marker down.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a hold trying to block Stephen Paya, who is a key.
Number 54 in the outfield. Penalty. First down.
Let's take a look at the Oregon Ducks starting lineup. And the big eaters up front, Tran, York, Holmes, Kaiser, and Asper. Backs and receivers, you've seen them in action already. LaMichael James, DJ Davis, Josh Huff, Jeff Mayle, David Paulson's the tight end. And of course, Darren Thomas, the sophomore out of Houston at quarterback.
Now the key for Oregon State's defense is right in the middle. Stephen Paya, number 54, maybe the most dominant defensive tackle in college football right now. He's played well the last 3 weeks, particularly. He has to have a huge game today.
1st and 20. Thomas keeps and then pitches late to Barner. And Barner out across the 45 to about the 48-yard line before he's run out of bounds. Tuimane from the secondary got him, but he picked up 13 yards on the carry.
Talk about the decision-making of the quarterback, Darren Thomas. It's not just in throwing the football. It's on the zone read plays, when to give to the back, when to keep, on the option, when to pitch, when to keep. He has just really shown great maturity for a young starter.
Well, Michael James in motion and now sets up with Thomas. And here's the option left. And Thomas gets the pitch. And the pitch to Michael James is good for, it appears, a first down. Right at the stripe over there. And the chains. Looks like he got it.
See, that's a case where Tuimane was there and responsible for the pitch, but not fast enough to get to LaMichael James before he could get the first down.
It's hard to be fast enough against Oregon.
You've got to play with leverage against these guys and take the proper angles to the football, or else you turn short games into big time plays.
The Ducks are in Beavers territory for the first time. Huff was the motion man. They come back the other way, and a completion inside the 40 to DJ Davis. Lance Mitchell made the tackle.
I think the difference in this Oregon offense this year compared to last year when Jeremiah Masoli was a quarterback, they maybe don't run with the quarterback as much or as effectively, but Darren Thomas is a very accurate passer, and he knows how to distribute the football all over the field.
Got the pistol set here, and now they give it off to Huff, and he's got the first down. Inside the 35 to the 34, Keith Pankey, the linebacker, playing his final game here at Research Stadium, made the stop. One of 20 seniors who were introduced before the ball game, playing their final home game today in the Civil War. Now Oregon methodically moving it to the 34-yard line. Huff lost the ball. It's still out, and Oregon State's got it again. Well, the ball's still squirting around, but I think it was blown dead with Keith Pankey on top of it. Second turnover of the ball game suffered by Oregon. Cats will give it off to Quiz Rogers, and Jaquiz breaks one for the first time and picked up 7 or 8 yards.
A nice lead block by Clayton York, who is playing at fullback today because Will Darkins was injured in the game at Stanford a week ago. So a backup fullback leading the way for Quiz. You know, you mentioned Mike Riley, standout quarterback at Corvallis High, led them to a state championship in 1970, and then ended up going to Alabama, which seems kind of odd, but the rest of his family was all from Alabama. His dad followed the coaching trail and ended up here in Oregon.
You know about that, following Dad's coaching trail. Quiz Rogers into the secondary. He's got a first down, and he's in Oregon territory. A pickup of 9.
This guy is such a competitor, and it's been a bit of a frustrating season for him. I mean, he just hasn't had the productivity, even though he's gone over 1,000 yards for the 3rd time in a row. It just hasn't been as easy as he hoped it would this year.
That move in the hole, they call it a jump cut, and it looks familiar, like Barry Sanders. That is Quiz Rogers' favorite running back of all time, and he does some of the things that Barry could do. First down at the 45. 3 wideouts for the Beavers. Ryan Katz's passing has not been very good. A couple of jump balls, so they keep it on the ground, and it's Quiz Rogers for a pickup of about 1 yard.
I think it's really critical that Oregon State takes advantage of this turnover. Now, they've had 2 in the game. You can't help a team like Oregon, and if they help you, you've got to make them pay and capitalize.
Ducks show blitz, they back out of it, and a screen pass to Quiz Rogers with a head of steam and a blocker in front. Ooh, got stonewalled as he got close to that first down marker, though, by Josh Cadew, the linebacker. And there's James Rogers, Quiz's older brother by 13 months, who was injured in the Arizona game. A season-ending injury, but it sounds like James is going to get a medical red shirt, and he'll come back next year, and he and his brother would both play on the same team if Jaquiz comes back.
Yeah. And the thing they miss with James, obviously, great productivity, speed receiver on the outside, but Mike Riley has said clearly the best practice player I've ever been around. And just his presence and leadership is missed as much as his productivity.
York in there at fullback, the lead man in the eye, but they play fake it, and Katz wants it all, lays it out for the tight end, and he dropped it. Had a hand on it, Brady Camp. He could have been camping in the end zone had he held on to it.
It was a beautiful play fake and a play call. I'm wondering why Brady Camp only stuck one hand out and didn't try to get it with two hands. They sold the fake. They had him open behind the defense, but he only reached for the ball with one hand. I mean, lay out with two hands. I mean, that's why you have two hands. Use them both.
You use them to eat with.
Well, yeah.
Both of them.
They're going for it.
They had already made their mind up, I think, on if they came to a 4th-and-1 situation, which they have now, that they're going. And they are. And it's Jaquiz Rogers, and he got the first down.
See, his ability to just kind of get, he's already short. He's not little, he's short. But his ability to get even smaller behind those linemen and find a little crease and get skinny is what makes him special. Watch him just kind of hide and slither, and then as soon as he sees a crease, gets it right up inside for the first down.
Remember how Steve Martin used to say, getting small. That was a whole different thing, but Quiz knows how to get smaller.
Yeah.
First down at the 34-yard line. Again, Keith Pankey's fumble recovery is what set the Beavers up with an opportunity here. Play action. Here comes Casey Matthews again, and he's going to get Katz again. Even though they knocked him down with a cut block, he just kept crawling.
Well, and that's on Ryan Katz. Ryan Katz has to throw this ball away. They went play action on first down. They had everybody picked up long enough to make the throw. This time he gets Matthews. You got to throw this away. Sometimes the defense wins, and in that case, throw it away and play 2nd down and 10 instead of 2nd and long.
Not to mention the shot he took on his left calf and ankle, as Matthews twice now has planted the Oregon State quarterback, including the first play of the ball game. Now they find themselves in long yardage, 2nd down and 17, way back at the 41. Ducks showing blitz off the corner, and they're going to bring it. Here comes Matthews again, too. And pass complete to Aaron Nichols in the middle of the field, but a pickup of about a yard.
And right now, Ryan Katz has to settle down a little bit and realize, hey, this team likes to come after the quarterback, and I'm going to get hit in this game some, but I've got to set my feet and keep my poise and make throws down the field. And when we talked to Danny Langsdorff, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, I asked him, you know, when he's had his struggles, what's been the problem? He says, well, when he gets hit early, he gets knocked around a little bit early, sometimes he kind of is in a hurry to get rid of the football.
And guess what? He got hit in the first 3 seconds of the game. 3rd and 17. Has time, throws the deep out, and he got it complete to Marcus Wheaton. Now that's Ryan Katz at his best.
Well, that shows you the arm skill and arm talent that he has. The deep comeback route, and that ball had no air under it. He sets his feet. He knows he might get hit at the end of it, but he throws a perfect strike to the sideline for a first down. And again, I can't emphasize enough how important I think it is for Oregon State to capitalize on the 2nd turnover. They didn't get to capitalize on the first one. They must capitalize on this one.
They're using up some clock, too, and that keeps the Ducks offense on the sideline. First down at the 20. Back to Jaquiz Rogers. Hops in the hole and then powers his way for 6 at least. Took 3 guys to finally plant him.
This is the kind of start they needed from Jaquiz. You know, he's finding some room to run. He's running with confidence. I mentioned it hasn't been a great year for him, even though he gained over 1,000 yards. Part of that is a new quarterback, a young quarterback. Part of it is an offensive line that's battled some injuries and hasn't played at the level they expected. And then even with his brother James being out, that deep threat on the outside has taken away some from their passing game.
11th play of the drive at the 14-yard line. Brady Camp, the tight end in motion, and the stretch play to Rogers. And maybe a couple, 2 yards shy. Lacombo, the outside linebacker, made the hit. Jaquiz and James Rogers, good friends with LaMichael James. They text a lot. In fact, sometimes LaMichael James will come to Corvallis to hang out with these guys. Sometimes they go to Eugene to hang out with him.
Well, they met each other in track, right? LaMichael ran track this spring, and James Rogers ran on the track team, and that's where they struck up the relationship.
3rd down at 2. They picked up a 3rd down and long. Let's see if they can do a 3rd and short. Katz, quick setup, and he's stuck it in there at the 7-yard line of Jordan Bishop. Boy, there was traffic.
Yeah.
Somehow that ball got through there.
That's the same route that when Cody Vaz was in the game missed Jordan Bishop on. It's kind of a little route where he goes outside and then peels back inside, and Cats put the ball right where you want to, low and to his inside, catch it for the first down and protect the football.
At one point in this game, we had 13 plays and 3 turnovers. Right now, Oregon State trying to turn one of those turnovers into points, and they've got it 1st and goal at the Duck 7.
2 tight end set now. Power formation for Oregon State.
Quiz Rogers puts his head down, trying to barrel his way to the 5. A whole pileup of everybody on both sides, as he's still not done.
Yeah, and you mentioned a really important thing, though, the clock. You know, time of possession is not a critical statistic for Oregon because they can score so quickly. But in a game like this, it is because you limit their touches. Right? And right now, the drive's gone over 7 minutes, and Oregon in the first quarter only a handful of offensive plays. So that really works to the advantage of Oregon State right now. But you got to get points. You can't just possess the ball and not get points.
2nd and goal. Cats to the end zone, tipped, incomplete, almost picked off. Cliff Harris got a hand on it. It'll bring up 3rd and goal.
Yeah, a lot of traffic. You know, when you're playing pass defense near the goal line, you don't have to guard depth. And that was very tight coverage. Would have taken a perfect throw to get it to Bishop. I think you got to look for Jaquiz Rogers here. If you're going to throw the football, even if he's an outlet receiver, see if he can make somebody miss in space and get the ball into the end zone for you.
Kalahuli in there, tight end. Cats in the gun at 3rd and goal. Quiz Rogers to the right. There it is, and there it is. Touchdown. 2-yard drive following the fumble. 7.5 minutes for Quiz Rogers on the touchdown. His 3rd receiving touchdown of the year and his 17th overall.
Well, if you want to upset number 1, you've got to win turnovers and you got to be good in special teams. And even though the emotion's there, they've got to cover kicks because Oregon's got dangerous guys.
This is a knuckleball that goes out of bounds. Wow. You talk about a bad week for kickers.
Out of bounds.
What happened with that one? That looked like the Oregon State game the other night.
On the kicking team, the ball is placed at the 40-yard line. 1st down.
As they place the ball, we'll give you a look at our Pacific Life game summary. It was a comedy of errors in the first 13 plays of the ball game. Ryan Katz got planted on the first play of the game by Clay Matthews. And then Katz intercepted by Terrell Turner on another batted ball, but Oregon gave it right back to the Beavers on special teams. Cliff Harris stripped to the football. The recovery by Oregon State, and then Josh Huff slipped, fell, put it out there. Keith Pankey recovered, and that's when they started their scoring drive. Now back to the live action, and Oregon, not much of a pickup as Dwight Roberson makes a stop on LaMichael James.
You know, coming into the game, both these teams have done a nice job in the turnover game, both with good numbers. Oregon coming in +11 into the game, Oregon State +6. And both of them a little careless with the football early in this one.
Darren Thomas slip screen to Jeff Mayle. Mayle brought down as he got near midfield. Pickup of about 8. And you talk about Mr. Dependability. He's caught a touchdown pass in 9 straight games, and he's had at least 1 in every game he's played in the Civil War.
Well, in 07, he was a defensive back. He was a safety. They moved him to receiver, and the first touchdown pass he caught in his career was in the Civil War game in 2007. Pretty good move.
He's caught 23 since, 23 more. Tied for the top spot all time in receiving touchdowns in Eugene. James going way wide, but he can't get to the first down marker. Nice job stretching it out by the Oregon State defense. Kevin Fromm from the defensive line helped stretch it out.
That was a nice play by the Oregon State defense. Now Chip Kelly is known to go for a lot of 4th downs. I don't think he's even hesitating on this 4th and short at midfield.
This is the 29th time they've gone for it on 4th down, and they're 64% completion percentage in doing so. Again, they go back to Mayle. He's hit, but he got the first down with 2nd effort. They're going to give him forward progress to about the 49 of the Beavers.
Yeah, Poyer hit him, and if he could have got him to the ground, it would have been Beaver football. He played it, he read it, he was in perfect position, but he couldn't get him to the ground. There was a guy that came out and blocked him right at the end of the play, and he wasn't able to wrap up Mayo.
So Oregon's got a first down in Oregon State territory. Thomas rides it to LaMichael James going wide, and he's got room to run down the sideline. LaMichael James all the way inside the 20. Tuimane knocked him out of bounds, but a big gainer and a pickup of 31.
Man coverage on this play. So the cornerbacks were running with the crossing routes, and nobody was on the outside. Once he got around the corner, there was no help in the secondary because they were running across the field with man coverage.
Now they come back with Kenyon Barner, and Barner hitting the backfield, and he breaks a couple of tackles and picked up about 4 yards on what looked like was going to be a 3-yard loss.
I'll tell you what, Oregon State's got a guy playing in the game right now, Brennan Olander. We didn't think we were going to see him. He has a torn pec muscle, and he's just decided to play. They got a contraption on his shoulder, number 78. He's in there in the middle of the defense. He played in this game last year with a torn MCL, so he knows how to play with some pain.
Thomas flips it out, completes. Justin Hoffman knocked out of bounds. That's going to bring up third down. That's when you really know you want to play in the rivalry game, when you got a harness on a torn pec muscle and you're out there saying, hey, I ain't going away. Not when I'm a senior out of Grant Pass, Oregon. Here's the biggest third down of the ball game so far for the Ducks.
They have been outstanding on third down this season.
Michael James in the backfield with Thomas, but it'd be Thomas to throw, and he's got Jeff Mail inside the 5, and whoa, wicked tackle out there by Lance Mitchell. No face mask and no horse collar, just a weird landing for Jeff Mail, but it's first and goal.
Now Mail's isolated, single coverage, and Thomas knows where to go with the football. That's a pretty big cushion. That's a safety, Lance Mitchell, in man coverage against their best receiver. That matchup favors Oregon. And another conversion, and when they get third down and 3 to 6, they convert over 60% of the time.
First and goal. Thomas, play fake, wants the touchdown on the throwback to the corner, and he's got it to Barner for the score.
Well, they really fooled him with that play. A design throwback, and nobody accounted for Barner coming out of the backfield after the play fake. Part of that is the quarterback, Darren Thomas, selling it. But a beautiful play call that time by Mark Helfrich, the offensive coordinator.
Now again, Oregon shows their widespread, the swinging gates from both sides, and now they come back to a normal setup for Bob Beard's extra point. Well, Oregon had the answer, didn't they? In 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Bad snap, the kick is blocked. And Oregon State trying to scramble for it. The snap was bad, and now Oregon State trying to go the other way with a lateral. And out of bounds.
But that's a momentum play for Oregon State. You know, even though Oregon got the quick response and the touchdown, it's a little bit of a breakdown for Oregon and a big momentum play for the Beavers.
Snap wasn't too bad. The hold was not good. The kick was blocked. It's 7-6, Oregon State.
The Tom Hansen Medal winner for Outstanding Female Senior Student Athlete at Oregon is Shannon Williams.
Williams searching for room against Massaro, uncorks and scores. Leading the way with 21 assists, 51 points, tops in the Pac-12 in both of those categories.
The senior captain finished her career as the all-time leader in points and goals for the Ducks.
Williams turns, fires, and scores.
A two-time All-Pac-12 selection, Williams is also Oregon's single-season record holder in points and points per game.
The senior is a bit of a legend here at Oregon, having amassed more goals than anybody in her 4 years in Eugene.
A human physiology and biology major, Williams graduated with a 3.95 GPA. The three-time Oregon Scholar Athlete was named the Pac-12 Women's Lacrosse Scholar Athlete of the Year in her senior season. Williams was not only a standout on the field and in the classroom, but in the community as well. The Student Athlete Advisory Committee co-director worked on events such as the St. Baldrick's Bald Fest for childhood cancer research and an international service trip with Courts for Kids. Exhibiting the greatest combination of performance and achievement in athletics, scholarship, and leadership at Oregon, Shannon Williams is the pride of the pack.
Your typical college football game airs for almost 4 hours.
Nearly 240 minutes, 14,400 seconds.
They won't get him. Touchdown.
There isn't always enough time in the day.
End zone. Touchdown.
Even for football.
Cut out replays.
Cut out timeout.
Cut out delays.
Cut down your watch time.
And he is gone.
Football in 60.
You're watching Pac-12 Encore.
Beard's kick. Go down to the 4-yard line of Jordan Poyer. Poyer, an excellent return man, heading for the sideline. It's Oregon State with the ball now. After the Oregon scoring drive, working from their own 29-yard line. Ryan Katz, blitz is coming, flares it out to Quiz Rogers. And he only got about a yard as we check in with Aaron.
Hey, Brad, a little bit of an update here from Oregon sideline. LaMichael James getting tended to by the athletic training staff, getting his left pinky taped up. And just want to comment here on just some of the mistakes, miscues. In talking to Chip Kelly this week, not very happy with cornerback Cliff Harris and his comment about forget the Roses, we're playing for the Natty. He made it very clear, and he even told me he didn't have to talk to his team about, let's just worry about a rivalry game here. Let's worry about the Civil War and not even talk about Glendale. Todd, could these be nerves? I mean, could they be thinking ahead? What do you think?
I definitely think it's added to the pressure of the game.
Jaquiz met in the hole by Casey Matthews again for no gain.
You know, Cliff Harris is also the guy that said the big brother, little brother comment.
They're the big brother.
They're the big brother. Well, little brother's got a 1-point lead here at the end of the first quarter.
Because if Oregon wins, they're heading to Glendale. Right now it's Oregon State with a lead, and Katz with a nice throw to Marcus Wheaton. And he put that one right on a line, too.
Yeah, and I think Ryan Katz has settled down a little bit. After a couple early hits and the ball getting away from him, he hit that deep comeback on their scoring drive, and he's sitting in there knowing, hey, this is the way Oregon plays. They take chances and come after the quarterback. They kind of play to their offense, and they're very aggressive. And so you can't hold the ball very long, and you have to expect you're going to get knocked around a little bit.
First down at the 44. Quiz Rogers hides in the hole and then cuts it outside. And he's to the 45 with another first down. He's got over 3,800 rushing yards in his career. The last one netted a first down at the 45. Here he is again. And this time he stood up by Paysinger. And maybe a yard or two. A little shoving at the end. Quiz Rogers out. Jordan Jenkins in. They don't spell Jaquiz Rogers very often. Play action, Katz in trouble. He got rid of it, though, and got it thrown out of bounds. Josh Kadu is the guy that had a hold of him.
This Oregon defense really underrated, I think, because of their offense being so prolific and scoring over 50 a game. Not enough credit, I don't think, this year has been given to their defense. But when you look at their numbers, 332 yards per game, only 4.5 yards per play coming into the game tonight they've allowed. And then in the passing game, only 5.7 yards per pass attempt. That is an outstanding number, and they're very aggressive getting after the quarterback as well.
They've picked up third and long so far in the game. Can they get another one? That one tipped and intercepted. Going the other way is Talmadge. Jackson down the sideline. Jackson brought down by Jaquiz Rogers, or it would have been a touchdown.
Oregon, the leading team in the nation in scoring points off of turnovers, with 143 coming into the game today.
Jackson with a 52-yard return to the 12, where it's 1st and 10 for the Ducks. Trying to take the lead. Thomas. And he gets rid of this one out in the back of the end zone as Gabe Miller had a hold of it. So Katz has had a couple of bright spots with some nice passes, and then he's had a handful of tip balls already. He's played a with the nerves and everything that Aaron was talking about, and the pressure he's getting from a very, very good Dunk defense, he hasn't had a great first half. But Michael James, he's got black and orange all around him. Dominic Glover to Imane from the secondary, combined on the hit.
You have to play with leverage against Oregon because of their speed. So if you have outside contain, like Dominic Glover did on that play, you have to maintain that position. Dominic Glover started his career at Oregon, transferred by way of Saddleback Junior College to Oregon State. So a huge game for him tonight.
He's been on both sides in both uniforms. Thomas again flushed out of the pocket. Throwing on the run and incomplete. Josh Huff had his hands on it. And two big plays by the Oregon State defense.
And it was Glover that was getting after the quarterback and forcing him out as well. And that is a huge defensive stop in a sudden change situation for the Beavers. The pass rush, both ends really collapsed the pocket. It was Gabe Miller and Dominic Glover forcing Thomas out. And a field goal attempt coming.
They don't attempt a lot of field goals, only 10. You wonder if the hold will be any better than on the extra point by Dustin Haynes, a 36-yard field goal attempt. This hold is good, and the kick is a knuckleball, but it's right in the middle of the goalpost. 9-7 for the number 2 team in the country. Beard to kick, Jordan Poyer and Rashad Reynolds wait on the other end. At the 9-yard line is Poyer. Cutback, he found himself a little room. Across the 30. And roughed up at the 41-yard line, but a nice return. And now, both teams going at it on the sideline a little bit. Let's take a look at our Chick-fil-A drive recap on the scoring drive for Oregon State. It was a heavy dose of Jaquiz Rogers, both on the ground and as a receiver, as Cats found him for a 6-yard scoring toss in the corner. That's the only Oregon State touchdown so far.
Yeah, and that's the formula for Oregon State to pull the upset, is a heavy dose, as you said, of Jaquiz Rogers. So far in the game, 11 carries, 46 yards, and 3 receptions with the touchdown. And that takes pressure off of Ryan Katz. I mean, Katz is going to have to make throws, but it has to be after Jaquiz Rogers has set the table for him.
Good starting field position for the Beavers at the 43-yard line. Wheaton, the motion man, and he's going to bring it on the end around, coming back the other way. Talmadge Jackson, who had the interception, made the tackle.
It's really a nice play by Talmadge Jackson. I talked about leverage and how you have to, if you have outside contain, you've got to maintain that position. That's exactly what Jackson did on that fly sweep. That's a big part of the Oregon State offense. And when James Rogers was healthy, I mean, he was an outstanding ball carrier on that wide receiver sweep.
His little brother, number 1, he's number 8, but he's on crutches. 2nd and 6 from the 47. Draw play to Jaquiz. That didn't get much. Katz comes up throwing complete to Marcus Wheaton, who's got the first down. He's down to the 40-yard line.
That was outstanding protection by a banged-up front. Again, coming into the season, this offensive line was expected to really perform at a high level. They had a lot of guys who were returning starters, but because of injuries and guys not able to go through the spring and into the summer, they just haven't played as well. But that was outstanding protection, and Katz was able to wait for Wheaton to cross the field for the first down.
Oregon State trying to answer the field goal with a score of their own here in the second quarter. First down at the 39 of Oregon. Jaquiz Rogers, dragging guys with him for 4 or 5. You know, we talked to Danny Langsdorff, the offensive coordinator at Oregon State, and I said, you know, Danny, aren't you ever afraid that you're overusing Jaquiz Rogers? He said, well, you know, if we take him out, people go, why aren't you using him? And he says, when I do take him out, he's chomping at the bit and yakking at me over there on the sideline, wanting to get back in. He's durable. We said it earlier. He's not small. He's just short. And he is a tough competitor. We talked to him yesterday, and I said, Jaquiz, we had you in the first game. Now we have you in the last game. I didn't mean it the way he took it. I thought he was going to take me down in the parking lot.
I was going to have to jump in between the two of you.
But second down, Katz, the throw's complete, but what a play by Casey Matthews, the middle linebacker.
Well, and I understood what you meant,
yes.
and I think Jaquiz eventually did. But you know, if they don't win today, Oregon State, their season's over.
Right.
They're playing for bowl eligibility. Of course, Oregon's playing for a shot to go to the national championship. But these guys, a lot of incentive for the Beavers. They need a win to continue their season. So
that's the way I meant it.
Yeah, he's hoping it's not his last game.
Big third down here.
They're 5 of 8 so far on third down, and that's been a kind of a weak spot for them this year.
Got to get it to the 29. The ball again is tipped. Man, Taylor Hart, I think, is the guy that got a hand on this one. Justin Cahoots' longest field goal this year is 41 yards. He's another one of the seniors introduced before the ball game. This is going to be a long one.
52-yard attempt.
His career long is 50. That was against Portland State. This is a much bigger situation, and it's a 52-yard attempt. Nope, they're going to fake it. They'll throw for it. They've got a man open, tipped, incomplete. Johnny Hecker trying to get it to Joe Halahouni.
Yeah, and Hecker's hurt, the punter. He's holding his right arm. I wondered if that was the place where Mike Riley would go.
Well, another turnover on a fake field goal. Terrell Turner's got 2 picks in the first half. He's a defensive end.
Yeah, he'll be telling his kids one day, yeah, in the Civil War in 2010, I was a defensive lineman. I had 2 interceptions.
So far.
Yeah, it may not be done.
LaMichael James, he's got room to run. All the way out to the 44-yard line. His best run of the day, a pickup of 18.
You just can't miss gaps against this offense. That's the thing about them. I mean, they don't execute every play to perfection, but if you miss a gap or leave a lane open, they've got the speed to make you pay.
Thomas comes up throwing. I said the best run of the day by LaMichael James. He had a 31-yarder earlier, so he's piling up numbers as he's done all season long. Coming in as the #1 rusher in the country, over 150 yards a game.
It's good pressure again by Dominic Glover. Put the quarterback on the ground.
As you said, a guy that started his career in Eugene, worked his way to Corvallis, and having a good first half. Second down at 10. James and Barner both in the full house backfield. And now Thomas on the pitch to Barner. And he's got the first down and then some. First down at the 41. And now the end around to Huff. Huff with 2 blockers in front. Inside the 25 to the 24. Well designed, perfectly executed. And now we got a little shenanigans going on between the guy that made the tackle and Josh Huff.
There was a tremendous block by Jeff Mayo on the safety Anthony Watkins. They ran the option. This time they faked the option. And here's the very end of the play.
And there's the shenanigans.
Yeah. But Jeff Mayo got a huge block on Watkins.
At the 24. And hit immediately. LaMichael James got a yard. We're down to under 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And a lot of people probably expected the score to be about 30 to 20 by now. But turnovers have made the difference so far.
Well, the good news if you're a Beaver fan is you're right in the ball game.
Exactly.
The bad news is Oregon is outstanding in the second half. That's when they do their most damage.
Exactly, and especially in the fourth quarter. LaMichael James broke a tackle, broke another, and it's first and goal. Beg your pardon, it's Barner, not James. 24, not 21, but they're both equally dangerous. Now it's James with Thomas in the backfield on first and goal. LaMichael James, left side, trying to get to the corner, and he'll cruise in.
Well, what a nice block by the tight end, David Paulson. He was the end man on the line and just got in great position to seal that edge for LaMichael James.
20th rushing touchdown of the year.
They spread you out. They got a lot of bells and whistles with motion and shifting, but they are a run-first football team all the way.
Beard in for the point after. Capping a 74-yard drive in 7 plays with the extra points. It's a 74-yard scoring march capped by LaMichael James, 20th touchdown. Poyer will take this one at the 7. He's been close on a couple of these kick returns. And he's out to the 35, maybe the 36-yard line. We'll see what Todd had coming up in a second at the 36-yard line. Jaquiz Rogers straight up the middle. And Quiz picked up 6, almost 7. Second down and 3 as Katz is in the shotgun. We got 6 minutes and change remaining in the first half. Katz quick throw out in the flat. Jaquiz Rogers puts the brakes on, but they put the brakes on. Jaquiz is pacing her, makes the stop from the outside linebacker position. Third down here. Katz flush from the pocket. He's going to try to run for it. He can't find anywhere to go.
Ryan Katz back near the line of scrimmage.
Yep. Each week you can log on to ESPN.com/Taste of the Town. Tell us why you should get a $100 gift certificate to our featured restaurant. Tell us why you're hungry, who you'd take, maybe what you'd have. Fill out your name, email address, and we can contact you if you win.
Now Johnny Hecker's into punt, and remember on that fake field goal he injured his right hand or arm. Be interesting to see if that affects him on this catch and kick.
He does the rugby style kick.
I don't think so.
Going to make it, or didn't it? Wait a minute. That might have gone out of the 6-inch line.
They're saying it crossed the plane.
And this guy gets a lot of those points. Michael James, they drag him down after only a 2-yard gain.
This is a critical defensive possession for Oregon State. And they've got to have some of those senior leaders really step up. Guys like Keith Pankey and Stephen Paya. Because they can't let this game get away from them. I mean, coming into the game, this is Oregon State deep offense has scored 32 fewer touchdowns than Oregon. So they're not going to come back from a big deficit against the Ducks.
James goes out, Barner comes in. This is Barner taking it wide. Got a nice block, got a first down, and then bowls over a couple of tacklers. Josh Huff was the guy that sprung him on the corner.
You know, Scott Frost is the wide receiver coach for Oregon. He was a former quarterback in Nebraska, led them to the 1997 national championship, and he is a stickler for blocking on the perimeter. And he tells these guys, if you don't block, you won't get the run. And they really get after it on the outside.
Scott went from being a quarterback to being a safety in the NFL, and his Barner again with a stiff arm at the end and another first down. He picked up about 13 more. Nice when you can take out the leading rusher in the country and put in Kenyon Barner, who's running sideline to sideline.
There's Scott Frost right there. He got into coaching, was a defensive coordinator at Northern Iowa before he came here and went back to the offensive side of the ball, but has been a real nice addition to Chip Kelly's staff at Oregon.
Barner has 76 yards on just 6 carries. First down at midfield. As Todd said, a very important 4 minutes if you're an Oregon State fan here. Thomas on play action fires and a strike complete to Jeff Mail inside the 40. Fourth catch by Jeff Mail.
First down, Oregon.
Now, you know, Mike Riley, when you ask him about Oregon, he says they're just relentless. And that's the feeling you have playing against them. They don't deviate from their plan, which is to just attack, attack, attack.
Here's Barner, cuts back the other way, looking for a block from his quarterback, and ends up rolling right up on Darren Thomas. Second down, 6. LaMichael James back in there, gets the call, and he gets the first down. Got to the 25-yard line, and a pickup of 7 as he just checked back in there, number 21.
Now everybody talks about the continuity on Joe Paterno's staff at Penn State, and he's had some guys who have been with him and been there for a long time, but this staff is just even more so. You know, and a couple of those guys like Steve Greatwood, the offensive line coach, Don Pelham, the linebacker coach, also played football here at Oregon. So they are deeply invested in the Duck program.
Here comes a blitz. The give is to LaMichael James on a cutback inside the 15 with another first down. And right now, the Ducks don't need to fly. They're doing it on the ground. James again came out, appearing to be shaken up a little bit. Barner in there, but he goes in motion at the 14. First down, throw to the end zone, incomplete, intended for Mail.
Yeah, Mail took a shot to at the end of the play. I mean, that's he's a tough guy, not afraid to go over the middle, but this ball was a little bit wide, and he's going to take a big shot at the end of the play by Tuamane, the safety.
Robinson's the guy that got a hand on it that redirected that pass. 2nd and 10 at the 14 with 2:22 remaining in the half. Barner flanks Thomas, and he gets the call. They're trying to stretch him out to the sideline. He puts a stiff arm out there, and then he got tossed, and it's going to be a personal foul at the 10-yard line.
Very dumb play that time.
Tuimane.
Yeah. I mean, you strung it out, and he was running out of bounds. I mean, the play was over. He was conceding the play was over, and now you just gave them new life.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, number 28 on the defense. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
There's Tuimane with the shove when he was already well out of bounds. It would have been 3rd and 6. Instead, it's 1st and goal.
Again, when you're playing the #1 team in the country, they don't need your help. And an offense like Oregon's doesn't need your help, but they will gladly take it.
1st and goal at the 5. Oregon with the lead and trying to pad it right here before halftime. Huff in motion. High snap, but they got the handoff. And down for Barner to the 2, maybe the 1. Brandon Harden put him down. And we're at the 2-minute mark of the first half.
Now, I keep saying the #1 team in the country. They are actually #2 now in the BCS, #1 in the AP, #1 in the Coaches Bowl.
Well, 1 equals 2 in the
That's
BCS.
right.
If Auburn wins and Oregon wins, it doesn't matter who's 1 and who's 2. They'll be in Glendale playing each other. Harden shaken up, and as they help him off, it's just inside the 2-yard line.
You know, I get the variety of uniforms with Oregon and the combinations. It's very hip, very cool. I don't get a uniform, though, that doesn't have your school colors in. I guess there's a little bit of green on the border of the numbers.
Yes.
Everything else looks like the old AFL Oakland Raiders to me.
They call this their carbon uniforms. Thomas on the give. Barner. They're going to knock him down for a loss. Big play. Tuimane, who's the guy that had the personal foul, makes a big stop there. Aaron.
And guys, obviously, LaMichael James still on the sidelines. He was grabbing his left side kind of by his rib cage. He's still kind of grimacing, wincing a little bit, but the trainers have left him alone. By the way, guys, they were wondering if that last injury to Brandon Harden, if that was to slow down Cal's offense. That's what they were complaining about over on the Ducks sideline.
Well, he's not back in there. 3rd and goal. Thomas. And Kaiser might have come out of his stance. They're going to have a false start. Well, this would be huge if you could hold Oregon to a field goal here if you're Beavers defensive coordinator.
False start on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So they back it up and put it down at the 9.
Well, the guys that you have to really be concerned with here, if you're Oregon State's defense, is Jeff Mayo and the tight end David Paulson, number 42. Here's Paulson right here in the slot.
Mail's to the top of your screen. Beavers showing blitz. They're going to bring it on Thomas, and he's got to get rid of it in a hurry, and he got it to Mail, but dropped by James Dockery in his tracks.
Well, the penalty helped Oregon State. They were able to get some pressure with Roberson, and then a good open field tackle. Again, you have to be able to tackle in space. That's one-on-one coverage. If Dockery misses the tackle, Mayo walks into the end zone for a touchdown.
So they're going to set up for a 24-yard field goal by Bob Beard. Remember, we've seen Dustin Haynes with a good hold on a field goal. We've seen him with a bad hold on an extra point. He is basically the backup holder because the regular holder was their punter, who's been out with an illness and is not playing in the game. So that's number 14, Haynes.
They wanted to let the clock go down all the way.
Beard, the final play of the half. If there isn't a penalty, trying. They've actually backed it up a little bit. It's a 25-yard field goal. And it's up, and he missed it. About a foot wide to the right. And Chris Rogers says, hey, we get momentum heading to the locker room, even though it wasn't us scoring. But that's... Huff will take it at the 6. And out across the 25, close to the 27-yard line. Michael James will start the 3rd quarter in the backfield. And he gets the first call of the third quarter, out to about the 32-yard line as we check in with Aaron.
Hey, Brad, I checked in with Mike Riley on the way out from halftime, and he said, our defense is hanging in there, but like you and Todd just mentioned, he said, our offense just kind of waiting for something to happen. We're inconsistently running the ball, inconsistently passing the ball. He said something has to happen, and like you mentioned to us on our call, guys, yes, Oregon, a second-half team, a big topic for the Beavers this week, plays 60 minutes.
And right now the defense doing its job. Dominic Glover has had a good game with a stop for no gain. So you talk about what you want to do is force a third down and at least medium, which is what this is. And that's what Mark Banker right now is hoping his defense can do, is force a punt.
Well, again, this area of the field, though, 3rd and 3 to 6. Oregon coming into the game converts 62% of the time, and it's been a weak spot for the Oregon State defense, 3rd and 3 to 6.
Tough as a motion man on 3rd and 4. Thomas to throw for it. Got it out complete, and it's a first down and a lot more. Drew Davis pushed out of bounds, but not before he got into Oregon State territory. Pickup of 21.
The reason 3rd and 3 to 6 is so hard to defend Oregon is because of the versatility of Darren Thomas. They can run option, they can run the football, or they can throw with him, and so you get a lot of man coverage in single isolated situations, and he knows what to do with the football.
At the 46-yard line of Oregon State, first down Ducks. Michael James, nice seal blocks on the corner, and he's got a first down. About a 13-yard gain before he's knocked out of bounds.
Again, the perimeter runs. Part of it is the speed of both James and Barnard to get to the perimeter, and part of it is the perimeter blocking by this Oregon offense. Wide receivers, running backs. In this case, it was Davis and Huff, and the tight end Paulson. They do a great job of blocking on the edge and creating big plays.
Oregon State had to hustle to get an extra guy out there defensively, as Oregon's not wasting any time on its opening drive of the third quarter. They're putting their foot to the gas right now. And they have it at the 29-yard line.
Michael James, the ball carrier.
A little mutual respect between longtime rivals. 900-yard games this season for Michael James. Just had a sensational year. He had 166 yards and 3 touchdowns last year in an Oregon win. Here he comes again, and this time they've got him bottled up for a loss of a yard, maybe 2. David Collins made the stop.
Maybe one of the biggest plays of the game right here for Oregon State's defense. They got a lost yardage play on 2nd down. So now instead of 3rd and 3 to 6, it's 3rd and 8. And they got to get a stop here.
Jeff Mail's been quiet in the ball game. Thomas, who's got pressure, lofts it dangerously, intended for Mail and Davis. Were both in the same spot, and it's broken up by Dockery.
Dockery had an interception in the Civil War last year. It actually set up Oregon State's first touchdown in the game a year ago, and he almost came away with one here. You don't see Darren Thomas float a ball into traffic like this very often.
Also, Mail and Davis were in the same spot, basically. They're going to go for it on 4th and 8. Talk about putting the pedal to the metal.
Well, remember, they missed a field goal there last time right before the half. That might be playing into Chip Kelly's decision here a little bit as well.
Going to have to hustle too. Play clock at 2. Thomas on 4th down. Screen middle. Barner nowhere to hide. Kevin Unga comes up with a big play for the Beaver defense. They'll have the ball back. Here at 16-7. Oregon State, Ryan Katz running for his life, almost got away, but he's tripped up and lost on the play. Casey Matthews, who's been his main nemesis today, he's going to see number 55 in his sleep tonight from the first play of the game on.
I think part of the reason that Oregon has been able to get after the quarterback in this ball game and bring linebackers into the pass rush is because they feel like their secondary has been able to lock down the outside. Again, the absence of James Rogers limits their downfield vertical passing game.
Wiz Rogers got some of that loss back and a little bit more. Pace Basinger put him down at the 35, where it's going to be 3rd down and 7.
I really think that guys like Marcus Wheaton and Jordan Bishop are probably the 2 main guys that are going to have to step up here for the Oregon State offense and make some plays down the field in the vertical passing game. They've got to get some big chunk of yardage plays, and that's not going to come from just slamming Jaquiz Rogers into the line of scrimmage. They've got to throw the ball down the field.
You saw James over there with the crutches on the sideline with Aaron. That's who they could use right now for a big play downfield. 3rd down and 7. Katz has plenty of time. This time zips it, but it's in and out of the hands of his tight end, Joe Halahuni. And Halahuni should have had that one. So it's a punting situation for Johnny Hecker. Cliff Harris is back on the other end. He dropped one in the 1st quarter. One of our first turnovers of the ball game.
We just don't let that defense of Oregon State get much time to rest with a 3 and out.
Nope. Not a good kick. It's been the story today, although it takes a nice bounce. And it's option, and it's James, and he lost the ball, but he regained it, and he's coming back the other way. Got a block. Got his quarterback in front of him. LaMichael James makes something out of nothing and had everybody's heart stop for a second when the ball was bobbled and then recaught by him.
Well, not the way you draw it up, but when you have speed like LaMichael James, you can turn a disastrous looking play into a 3-yard gain.
He comes back out. On 2nd down and 7. In the middle of the pack is Barner.
Oregon State has done a nice job of stopping the inside runs today. They've been on that. It's the outside perimeter runs that have given them the most problems.
Now here's a 3rd down and about 3 again. And as Todd said, Oregon's about the best there is in the country in this situation because of what they can do with their versatile offense. In this case, they're going to throw. Maybe. Thomas hit as he throws it. It's incomplete. Cameron Collins put the hit on him.
Yeah, delayed blitz by Cameron Collins, and Darren Thomas never saw him.
Jackson Rice, their normal punter, remember, out.
Jackson Rice.
Maldonado, they took the red shirt off him last week, a freshman, in only his 2nd game.
And only their 16th 3 and out of the entire season.
Wow. And it's a fake. Right up the middle. And going inside the 20, all the way down to the 7-yard line. Michael Clay. 68 yards. We got a flag down at the end of the play. Wow.
Wow is right.
Talk about guts.
They finally get a stop on 3rd down and short. It's a 3 and out for Oregon.
After the play, personal foul on the kicking team. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, 1st down.
So they bring it back out to the 23-yard line. Michael James inside the 20. Out of bounds. A nice block from Josh Huff there on the corner. Huff's done a nice job. All the wide receivers have. Todd mentioned it earlier. Helping their guys get to the edge. In this case, to the 19-yard line.
That's a big part of having a great running football team, whether you're an option team or not. If you want to get big plays in the running game, you have to get big blocks downfield, and this group really takes pride in it.
2nd down and 6. Play action. Thomas has to get rid of it. High and complete. Mail the intended receiver.
Thomas's pass incomplete.
Keo Kamat is the guy that puts some pressure on the quarterback.
Well, one of the adjustments that Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator, made at halftime is we're going to come after Darren Thomas more. We've seen some linebacker blitzes that have been effective, unblocked guys.
You know, if Mail doesn't get his right hand on that, that's an interception.
Exactly right. And Watkins is standing right there waiting to collect the football.
There's another big 3rd down. Blitz coming on Thomas. Trying to throw back screen to Davis. Davis got the 1st down. He's gone. Touchdown, Oregon. Even though they were backed up after the big fake punt that got them to the 9, they still get a 19-yard touchdown pass.
Great call by Chip Kelly and Mark Helfrich. They anticipated blitz again and came. It wasn't a great throw. Davis had to go up in the air and catch it, but then just some poor tackling at the end of the play. But they caught him in a blitz, and the screen worked.
Beard in for the point after. And the kick is good.
It's good. With 8:39 to go in the
Oregon
third
pads
quarter.
its lead, and here, the midway point, almost the midway point of the third quarter. You can call him Drew, you can call him DJ. Davis touchdown caps a 79-yard drive in 1:43 seconds. And that was attack mode to Jordan Bishop. That was a rocket from Ryan Katz, and I don't know how Bishop laid out to get it.
Well, you know, I think James is right. And the guys that can make plays and step up are that guy, Jordan Bishop, and Marcus Wheaton. They're the two big play receivers to go along with Jaquiz Rogers in the backfield. And you've got to get some plays where you get big chunks of yardage and loosen up this Oregon defense.
That is a beautiful catch by Bishop. It has him at the 46-yard line. Katz now throws the out over the top of Halahuni. Incomplete. If you're watching this game, just joining us, you're going, I don't get the jerseys and helmets of Oregon State either. That's a matted black, and it's called Solar Orange, and it's in tribute to the 1967 Oregon State team. They called them the Giant Killers, a team that went 7-2-1. They beat number 1 USC, they beat number 2 Purdue, and they tied then number 2 UCLA to go to that 7-2-1 record.
I'm guessing that team didn't wear orange shoes.
I don't think so. We got orange patent leather, and we got silver shoes on the field today. Jaquiz Rogers has about 6 more yards. Third down at 5. This is a pretty big third down play because Oregon State needs some offense, and they need it quickly because they know what the fourth quarter is about with Oregon. Katz again. Jordan Bishop stretches out and makes a nice grab. Third catch, another first down.
Now again, Jordan Bishop is a talented guy. He's 6'3", 200 pounds, sophomore. He's a track All-American, was a 7-foot high jumper on the track team. So he's got the ability to make some plays in the middle of the field with his size and his leaping ability.
First down at the 39. Katz with 4 receivers in the group. Here comes the blitz. Again, he throws a strike. It's going to be another first down. This one's to Marcus Wheaton. So Oregon State's finally got it moving through the air.
Well, they're getting protection. They're keeping Jaquiz Rogers in to help rather than get him out in the pass route, what they like to do, keeping him in to help with the protection. And they're trying to get Bishop and Wheaton involved. And the other guy that can make plays, even though he's had a couple drops today, is Halahuni. In the middle of the field, that H-back.
First and 10 from the 24.
York, the fullback. In the backfield with Rogers leading the way. And Quiz popped out the other side. Oh! Ran over a man at the 13. John Boyette got bulldozed by number 1. And now the crowd's into it.
First of all, how he got out of the line of scrimmage, the initial pile of bodies is beyond me. And then, you know, it's hard to get lower than him. I mean, how do you get underneath him? He's 5'7", and he's powerful.
That brings a smile to his older brother's face. Oregon State threatening and trying to make it a game here with 6:20 remaining third quarter. The stretch play to Jaquiz. Inside the 10 and again puts his head down and takes Eddie Pleasant to the 5-yard line. Here comes the short yardage group from the Oregon State sideline.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can put all kind of different bodies in there, but you better put the ball in the belly of number 1.
They got every tight end they have on the roster in there. And Clayton York, the fullback, in front of Jaquiz Rogers, who gets the second man through call, and Oregon knew he was coming, and they're going to drop him for a loss. Nice job defensively. There going to back it up just inside the 5-yard line. Jaquiz Rodgers is going, let's go.
And now's when you might see a little play action out of Ryan Katz. What he's got to remember if they do is don't take a sack here. If it's not there, get rid of it.
Ninth play of the drive. Second down and goal. There's the play fake. He got rid of it, and he got it to the goal line. No, incomplete. How about Camp? Controlled it, but he didn't. And it's 3rd and goal. But they're on the right hash in the short side of the field right now. In the shotgun, 3rd and goal. Maybe 2-down territory if you're Oregon State. Katz. Tipped. Again. That has got to be the 5th tip pass of the ball game.
They were going to Quiz, and he was open, and he probably would have scored if the ball doesn't get tipped. Quiz is just going to run out in a little quick slant back into the middle. He's open. I think it hit his own guy. Hit the back of Burke Ellis, number 74. Again, part of that is the fact is that Jaquiz is only 5'7".
Yep.
He's not a big target to throw to, but Katz has to get that ball up a little bit.
So they're going to bring out the field goal unit. Justin Cahoon, they want to get something out of this. It'll be a 21-yard field goal attempt. Second most converted field goals in school history, and he's got another one.
Play clock might have gone down on him.
Play of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
We've seen about 5 kicks this year where there was a penalty on a kick, and the second time around the guy misses.
Oregon
I'm not trying to put that on Cahoon.
No, Oregon was the beneficiary of one of those in their closest game of the year so far. Their 15-13 win over Cal in Berkeley. Cal had a 4th quarter field goal attempt that would have put them up by 1. They made it, but the kicker had gotten a little quick start before the snap. They had to re-kick, and he missed.
Let's see if Justin Cahoon can convert from 26 now. Johnny Hecker to hold. Cahoon tucks it inside the right upright. Cahoon's kick goes to Huff, and he ran out of real estate, or didn't he? No, he's out. He's out at the 7.
That's called directional kicking at its finest right there.
And Huff, who's so dangerous, tried to tightrope the sideline. If he lets that kick go, it's out of bounds. It's at the 40. But he does a little tap dance, little ducky 2-step. Boy, he almost didn't go out of bounds. This is the worst hole that the Ducks have had to try to fly out of. With 4:49 to go, 3rd quarter. They start their own 7-yard line. Empty backfield as Thomas comes up throwing, and another tip ball. White Roberson got a hand on that one. Crowd trying to make it difficult for Darren Thomas down close to that end zone. Right in the middle of the pack, still driving legs out to the 9-yard line. That's going to bring up another 3rd down. Well, they got to stop. Last time they had him in this situation, and then saw a fake punt go for 64 yards. There's some yakking going on right now, and some quacking going on the other side.
Kevin Fromm is he's a high energy guy, a junior out of Portland, Oregon. This game's personal for him.
Third and 7. Thomas alone in the backfield. At his own goal line, pressure coming. Pass is complete out to Davis.
Now, I think there's a holding penalty on the play. I don't know if Thomas was in the end zone or not when he threw it, but there was a hold.
Number 77.
Now very tough spot as they will put the ball down just inside the 5-yard line. Boy, will the Beavers like to come up with a big defensive play here. They'll play it safe.
Another penalty flag. If this is on Oregon, I would imagine Oregon State will decline this one. Unless it's a dead ball foul.
Prior to the snap, false start on number 77 of the offense.
Carson York with a false start. 3rd and 14.
Oh my
Another flag. Laundry day in Corvallis.
Well,
just on this drive.
You know, this is a little bit of a lack of discipline and concentration on the part of Oregon.
False start on the offense. Still 3rd down.
Still 3rd down.
They're doing their part right now to invite the Beavers and this crowd right back into this football game. They're just trying to run the ball out of there on 3rd down.
Well, now they're going to be set up in their own end zone, though, at the 1-yard line. Your tailback and your quarterback's feet are both going to be on the black part of the Oregon State end zone. From the 1, Michael James.
Ball's loose. That ball came out.
He must have caught it again.
The ball came out, and I think it popped right back up to Michael James. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just seeing the orange shoes flying around, and I'm thinking it's a football.
And that was, the shoe was close to the ball. And LaMichael James lands at the 4-yard line. This is a short field for Maldonado to kick from. He's not as deep as he'd like to be. I don't think they're going to fake this one. Lazy kick, relatively short. They're trying to get everybody out of the way. It'll give Oregon State the football in Duck territory. A 38-yard punt. Great opportunity for Oregon State, working at the Ducks 43-yard line. Play action. Katz wants to go back to Wheaton. Got him looking for a block. Wheaton got the corner down the sideline. And Marcus Wheaton with a good block from Jordan Bishop's got a good gain. A pickup of 17.
Now, we talked about the wide receivers of Oregon blocking. Well, here's a case of the Beaver wide receivers blocking. Wheaton catches. Bishop gets a block. There's another block downfield by the other receiver, Nichols. Nice job on the perimeter that time by the Oregon State wideouts.
You know, they had to settle for a field goal last time. If they get a touchdown here, that field goal doesn't look so bad anymore. 23-10. 2-score game, 2 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Katz out to Wheaton. And he's ripped down at the 22-yard line by Eddie Pleasants. Now an overcast day, still about 40 degrees. No precipitation today in the 114th Civil War between Oregon State and Oregon. Oregon, if they win, goes to the national championship in Glendale, Arizona. If they lose, they go to the Rose Bowl. And if Oregon State pulls an upset, they are bowl bound somewhere. Quiz Rogers, no place to run that time.
Yeah, really a nice play that time by Paysinger. These two linebackers, Casey Matthews and Spencer Paysinger, really paced this defense. Excellent tacklers. They've got range and speed. And that time they just drew a bead on Jaquiz and got him for a negative yardage play.
Loss of 4, and that's 3rd down and 9, almost 10. We'll call it 10. In fact.
Bishop has been the go-to guy in this situation. He's right here in the slot.
Ryan Katz in the shotgun. Delayed blitz coming. Throws, and he's got his man, and it's Wheaton. And it's a 1st down, Oregon State. It's 1st and goal.
Boy, nice job by Ryan Katz. He looked left. He planted his foot and came back to Marcus Wheaton and made a nice throw. Watch him look left and then come back to his secondary receiver in Wheaton and delivered a perfect throw.
Marcus Wheaton playing off the bump, making the catch, and then getting down inside the 10.
Oregon State 7 of 14 on 3rd downs today. Coming into the game only 36% for the season, so that's a big reason why they're still in this thing as we tick down to the end of the 3rd quarter.
They're going to have to earn this 1st and goal situation. They're just tucked inside the Duck 10-yard line. Jaquiz Rogers cuts back inside. But as we start the 4th, a 2nd and goal for Oregon State, trying to get back in the football game. Play action. Flared out to Wheaton, and he's hit, and it's incomplete. And it brings up 3rd down.
Well, it's too bad they weren't throwing the other way to Jaquiz Rogers because he was open on the other side. It was a design throw to Wheaton. And now it's 3rd down.
The only touchdown the Beavers have today was a swing pass to Jaquiz Rogers, a 6-yard score for the first touchdown of the game. They had him open the last time they had a drive and had the ball tipped in the air and had to settle for a field goal. Now they've got it. 3rd and goal at the 5-yard line. And Quiz in the backfield, flanking Ryan Katz. This is tipped again and again.
Unbelievable.
He was open.
Same play they scored on that you were just talking about the other way.
And here comes the field goal unit. There was a little bit of hesitation. The offense looked to the sideline. Mike Riley says, you know what, let's cut it into a 10-point game. There's still a lot of football left.
Yeah, you got to get points.
Justin Cahoot will try one from 22 yards out. He hit a 26-yarder the last time they asked him for 3 points. Kick is up and good. 3 points closer for the Beavers. Josh Huff and Kenyon Barner await the kick from Justin Cahoot. Huff from the 11. Buried before he can get to the 30-yard line.
Well, they had an 18-play drive. They didn't score, but they went 65 yards and used 9 minutes and 25 seconds.
And they only get a yard out of this one. Kevin Fromm makes the tackle. Aaron.
Brad, just some observations from the sidelines right by the Oregon Ducks bench. When it was the 4th quarter, I was standing right behind the bench, and a lot of players just took a moment to themselves. A couple guys knelt down and started to pray. A couple guys started to look at each other and just bump fists, taking a moment. They know they're 15 minutes away. This is normally a loose team, but you could just sense they were thinking about 15 minutes left before the national championship.
And Michael James stopped for a very short gain again. Well, you know, they've been so focused, and Chip Kelly's been proud of the fact that they haven't talked about the scenario of the national championship. They didn't talk about the Rose Bowl. Todd mentioned earlier they weren't biting roses or anything last week after the game. Their mantra's always been win the day, fast, hard, and finish.
Sometimes it's been with linebacker blitzes. Sometimes it's just been with a 4-man rush.
Fromm is the guy that got some good pressure on him on the last series. Thomas zips it down the sideline. Dangerous throw, but we're going to have a flag. Mike Riley upset. He thought it was an uncatchable ball, and the crowd in the background, you can hear they were really enthusiastic about the penalty as well. But it is Reser Stadium, and it's first down Oregon, and almost a bobbled play action, and a penalty marker down.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Barner cuts it outside, got the penalty back, and a couple more. Record crowd here, not happy with anything right now. They'd only be happy if Oregon State got a stop or a turnover. Biggest crowd ever at Reser Stadium this afternoon, surpassing the one that was set 2 years ago in the same game. Thomas fires over the middle. Oh, what a catch by Mayo. Down to the 27-yard line. Barner broke free for a second, and then brought down by Dominic Glover. We'll bring up second down and 7, and the clock will work its way down here. 12.5 minutes here.
Well, just the critical penalty on the pass interference. You know, Oregon State had some momentum. It looked like they were going to get a stop or potentially get a stop, and now all of a sudden, here's Oregon in scoring territory again, and the clock is on their side.
From the 23, high snap, but they get it to Barner, and Barner is burning. Gone! Touchdown! Kenyon Barner, 23-yard burst up the middle. And who knows, that might be the burst that will send the Ducks to Glendale.
Well, Gabe Miller, number 99, just gets frozen a little bit right there, and all it takes is one false step. It's a nice block by Mark Asper, number 79, but there was one unblocked guy, and that was Gabe Miller. second of pause allowed for the touchdown.
Beard in for the point after. And the kick is good. Oregon has stretched its lead to 30-13 here. The kick will go to Poyer. And he's across the 25 and run out of bounds there.
And they wear you down.
Katz fires and tipped, almost picked off.
Ryan Katz's pass deflected.
Talmadge Jackson, who had an interception earlier, almost had another. Not that way. 2nd and 10. Katz and another tip ball. I don't know that I've ever seen a game with this many tip passes.
You know, and I think that's intentional. And you got to credit Nick Aliotti, the defensive coordinator, and the Oregon defensive staff for saying, look, Ryan Katz maybe has a lower delivery. And if we can't get to him and sack him, if we don't blitz him and sack him, let's at least get up and watch him and get our hands up. Again, he's a young quarterback, and he'll learn, you know, how to throw around guys and find passing lanes the more he plays. But right now, they've got a real beat on when he throws the football.
Terrell Turner, Brandon Bear, and Zach Clark and Kenny Rowe across that front wall have really done a great job. He's back to throw again. This one's clean, and it's caught by Halahuni. And he's got the first down, flags down in the secondary before they even bring him to a stop. And now we've got a little extracurricular going on downfield. Somebody's hat came off in all of that. I think Jaquiz Rogers was involved too.
Well, Halahuni may have, well, we'll see. We'll let him sort it out.
Oregon State looks upset. That would lead you to believe that it's on the Beavers.
Pass interference on the offense, number 87.
Yeah.
So they go all the way down. Instead of being in Oregon territory, they're at their own. I think they're going to put it down at the 13-yard line. Just outside the 13. Mike Riley knows it's desperation time right now, the way things are going with 11:45 to play. Not a lot of 3rd and 24s in your playbook, especially with pressure coming on your quarterback. Got it to the same guy, but
Ryan Katz.
it's only going to get back to the original line of scrimmage or close to it. 11:26 to go. I don't think it's so desperate that you don't punch. Not in that spot on the field.
You don't want to give Oregon the chance to have the football inside the 30-yard line. And that just, again, they don't need your help. The penalty really sets you back, and it doesn't make sense to go for it on 4th and 11.
So that was a disastrous series from the start. Tip passes and penalties. That's kind of been the story for Oregon State today. Nice punt by Hecker. Cliff Harris takes it at the 30 on the fly. Cliff Harris has got 4 touchdowns this year on the return, and he almost broke that one. And a flag back where he caught it. I think we're going to have an illegal block right when he made the catch. Somebody trying to help spring him free. James for 4 or 5. Kevin Unga made the stop. Well, Oregon is the #2 team in the country. #1 Auburn in the Georgia Dome is winning the SEC title game. I don't see that there's any way that somebody jumps over Chip Kelly's squad, but that's the way we have to phrase it. TCU's sitting at home. Stanford and Wisconsin are drinking lattes and cold beer. They can't do anything about it. So if 12-0 is not good enough for those teams, I don't know what is. It will be. You can trust me, but we still want you to watch the show tomorrow. It's one of your favorite shows. The 26, 2nd and 6. The Michael James stood up and put down by Unga again.
I'll tell you what Chip Kelly would like right here is one of those drives like they had in the Cal game that we talked about earlier. 18 plays, 9 minutes and 25 seconds. They don't need another score. They don't need window dressing. They don't need style points. They just need to get the victory and then get ready to go to Glendale.
They get closer by every snap. 3rd and 5. Thomas pumps once, then throws. Ball is out incomplete. Michael James had his hands on it, got hit pretty good by Jordan Poyer.
Yeah, that was a nice hit by Poyer. I mean, he really unloaded on Michael James and caused the ball to pop out because it was a good throw.
Perfectly timed.
Yep.
So Maldonado will come in to punt. And Poyer, who just put that hit on, drops back as a punt return man, and he's a good one. Second in the conference in kick returns and about 10 yards per on punt returns. Maldonado with a tail wagger. It'll come down at the 33-yard line on the fair catch. The 114th all but Civil War has 9:10 left. And Oregon State's got to hurry. So does Ryan Katz because he's in trouble. Got out of it somehow. Not quite though.
Ryan Katz dropped for a loss.
Brandon Hanna finally put him down. But they got a lot of pressure before number 44 got there. This hasn't been Ryan Katz's most glaring moment.
No. But I got to say this about Oregon State. You know, Mike Riley told us, you know, this season has been a season of some great games and some real clunkers. Last week was maybe the biggest clunker of the year when they lost 38-0 at Stanford. They came off the mat. I mean, they came ready to play today. And Oregon is a stronger football team.
Right.
But Oregon State has shown up today, no question.
2nd and 14. Katz. That one took a long time to get to the sideline. Aaron Nichols incomplete. And now it's 3rd down and a mile.
I think Ryan Katz has a chance to be an outstanding quarterback in this league. Ryan Katz, with a good offseason and a good spring ball, can take a big step forward next year.
He had a 393-yard game against Arizona, which is a good defense. But today he struggled. This throw is complete to Wheaton, trying to break away, and he did, and trying to get to the 1st down, and he might have. And I think he did. If the linesman's foot is over that line, it's going to be good enough for a 1st down.
Here's the 44. 1st down, Beavers.
First hit by Anthony Gilden, and then he broke free. And he got the 1st down.
Quiz Rogers with a block at the end of that play. He's flying all over the field. I think in part taking out a little frustration with some blocks down the field.
1st down at the 44. And we're under 8 minutes. Katz, draw play to Quiz. It's a loss of 4. Zach Clark stays home, makes the tackle. You can see the look on Quiz's face. He knows that the season is indeed just about over with 7.5 minutes to go. And no bowl game in sight unless they pull a miracle come from behind effort here in the last 7.5 minutes. 2nd and 13. All 3 wideouts to the top. Katz, tip pass intercepted by Oregon. John Boyette has got it for the Ducks, and that might do it for the Ducks. So 7 minutes separates Oregon from Arizona for the national title game. Michael James empties the Duck backfield. Thomas pump fakes and comes back to Jeff Mayo. Mayo inside the 20. 7th catch for Jeff Mayo in the ball game. Just his 2nd year for Chip Kelly, and about to go to 22-3 and 17-1 in Pac-10 play. The Ducks ready at the line, but taking their time with that play clock down to 4. And now to give to James. Kevin Fromm still playing hard on that defensive front for Oregon State.
You know, I talked to Mike Bellotti yesterday, the former head coach who hired Chip Kelly as his offensive coordinator. And he said when he lost Gary Croton to LSU and he needed to hire a coordinator, he interviewed 7 different guys, some guys with NFL experience, guys who had been former head coaches, and Chip Kelly was hands down the best pick to to be the coordinator to run the spread option offense, which Bellotti wanted to move towards. Finish that story after this play.
Barner behind Thomas will get the carry. Barner, who's had a huge day with another big run. First and goal, it appears, for Oregon.
Anyway, when Mike Bellotti hired him as a coordinator, at that time he didn't necessarily think he would be the next head coach, but it didn't take very long for him to recognize in him that he had all the qualities to be a great head coach. Even though he was young, he had a single-mindedness about him, and he was a total 100% football guy. And when Mike Bellotti designed a succession plan, it was with Chip Kelly to be the next head coach at Oregon, and it has really paid off in a big way.
Darren Thomas looking to the sideline, winding the clock down under 5. Michael James met immediately after the handoff by Dominique Glover.
See, this is very similar. You know, when I watched on tape in the Cal game, when they were using the clock, it's against their personality, against their character to run the play clock down that far. But Chip Kelly, he is a football guy, and he knows what they need right now is to just take care of the football, run the clock, and if they score, great, but they don't need to.
Second down and goal. Just shaded inside the 10-yard line. Well, Michael James straight up the middle. That should earn him a trip to New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony. (36-13). The celebration can begin now at Reser Stadium for everyone in the green and yellow. The most buff duck in the country. The push-ups to equal the point totals, and right now he's at 2,757 for the season. That's just plain daffy.
Yeah, I'd say it helps having that big bill, though,
yeah,
because you can only go down so far.
Here's the kickoff. At the 2-yard line, Hoyer comes across the 20. Nice return out to the 33-yard line. I think the questions have been answered for Oregon. Cats with a completion to Marcus Wheaton. The two backs you mentioned, there they are. Kenyon Barner and LaMichael James, Todd.
That's pretty good balance.
Yeah.
They both go over 130 yards. Barner with the higher average, the bigger plays, but that's tough to defend. Then you got Jacquizz Rodgers. He's doing it on his own on the other side. 22 carries, 87 yards at this point. Better than last year. He was 16 for 64 last year in the Civil War.
Cats will throw out in the flat to Quiz. Got him a first down.
I hope he comes back next year. I hope he comes back with his brother James. Ryan Katz will be a year older, a year better. They still have Marcus Wheaton, who's a sophomore, Jordan Bishop, who's a sophomore. They should have some really good offensive weapons coming back. I'll get better play out of their offensive line, though, that's for sure.
The Ducks got some Tostitos over there that he's chomping on. Katz, big hit by Cliff Harris on Aaron Nichols. And still some question marks remain. This team's not going to get one. Oregon State's Cats dragged down as he got inside the 40.
Inside the 40.
Oregon State will be 5-7 when the day is over. Can't see who the downed duck is. I think it's Zach Clark. He's been kind of battling a few injuries, one of the senior captains out of Wichita.
Mercy 10 Beavers at the 39.
And first down, Oregon State. Not in a huge hurry. They know this one is in the books. Cats will go long. Has Hasn't done much of that today. Wheaton trying to go up for it, but it's out of bounds anyway.
Intended for Marcus Wheaton, incomplete, out of bounds.
And we're down to 2:29.
Well, you start thinking about a potential matchup between Oregon and Auburn. Very similar teams in style. You know, both teams spread you out to run the football primarily. Now they both can throw, and really over the last 4 or 5 games, Cam Newton as a passer has really jumped out. But both these teams love to run the football, and they've got speed, and they really they move you around with formation and motion and all that kind of stuff.
Cats tucks one in there to Wheaton. They're short of the first down. Oregon has a guy at the next level, and Casey Matthews, it seems to raise havoc every place. We've seen them both, Todd and I, our crew, and if it's the matchup that everybody's been waiting for, I think we're going to be in for a doozy as Chip Kelly's about to get wet. I don't think he'll mind. He's out there in the 3/4 sleeves today in 40-degree weather. He's going to be colder than that here in a second. Flag on the play.
Pass interference on the defense. Ball's placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
So 1:46 left. And Chip, he likes to have fun with the officials too. Last week when we were doing their game, there was a clock issue, and he said to the field judge, hey, you know what, my brother's an electrician. He can probably come down out of the stands and work on that clock for you, and we can get this thing going. And that was in still at that point a tight ball game. Cats completes it, and it's going to be a first down around the 12-yard line. So Oregon State still moving it down the field. All they can really do is make the score of the 114th edition of the Civil War look a little bit better.
In the last 10 years, this game they've split 5-5, although Oregon's won the last 2 and threatening to win their 3rd in a row here.
Cats. Oh, what a strike to Wheaton, and what a catch. Marcus Wheaton, touchdown. Well, that's the kind of throws that number 12 would have liked to have a few more of today.
It's hard to beat Oregon when you have to settle for field goals. When you get down in that part of the field, you got to be able to score touchdowns. Unfortunately, this one came a little bit too late.
Justin Cahoon in for the point after, one of the seniors in his final minute on this field. Ending his Oregon State football career with probably his last point right there. Just a remarkable story. Chip Kelly, a few years ago, is in New Hampshire. Ball tipped in the air and caught by Oregon on the onside kick attempts. Deion Jordan made the catch. So Auburn extends its lead. Oregon has a 17-point cushion. They take a knee. We showed you the reload on the bucket, and there it goes. And Drew Davis says, I got you, coach. I got you. Well, he's got a spot in the national championship game. How ironic. If Gene Chiswick's club holds up, that 2 second-year coaches will play for all the marbles. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Chip Kelly was probably the choice, the popular choice here. Gene Chiswick was not a popular choice to be the head coach at Auburn.
Exactly.
I bet they love him on the Plains now.
The only difference between number 1 and number 2 is number 1 gets to wear the home jerseys. That would be Auburn and Navy if they hold on in Atlanta. For the Oregon Ducks, they've got 4 helmets, 5 jerseys, 4 sets of pants, 4 different kinds of socks, and that doesn't count their throwback uniforms. Who knows what they'll wear, but they'll take the gear to Glendale. Enjoy the ride, Oregon. Let's check in with Aaron.
Well, guess what? Now you can't tell me we're not looking ahead, game by game. What does it feel like to finally look ahead to to a matchup in the national championship?
It's not as much looking ahead as just how proud I am of this group and everything we've talked about all year long they've done. We have a vision for this football program. We prepare against it and we go out and compete against it. And for that group to be 12-0 right now is just a testament to those guys. We have some unbelievable players.
You've made comments. You know, everybody knows this for our uniforms, for Nike. But what does this mean for the program?
You know, the one thing that I think now, and I hope this is it, is that we're not known for our uniforms. We're known for the players inside the uniforms, and that's what